And then there came a day like many others. The Best Flarking Podcast. Your nerd's eye view of TV, film, comics, and video games with your hosts, Reed and Dunners. Hello again, it is that time, the Best Flarking Podcast. I'm Dunners to some. With me, as always, is my main man, my co-pilot, Reed. Reed, how are you? How have you been?
Excellent. On top of the world. Attacking every day like it stole from me. I'm good, man. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm fantastic. Like a fantastic... for all the things that happen, I'm pretty fantastic. How about that? If that
you and the puns already, just right off top.
That's how we do it sometimes. I could say that I'm happy because I got to do a bunch of movie watching while doing a lot of work this weekend. So I caught up on a bunch of movies and saw some stuff. One of those things I saw was the rebootification of the Fantastic Four, and I don't think it's as terrible as everyone on Earth seems to think it is, at least all the critics. The first 40 minutes is giving it a lot, but the first 30 minutes are actually quite excellent, with Reed and Ben being little boys and kind of building the teleporter, so to speak, and kind of rallying around each other and being cool. The clobbering time as like the older brother beats up Ben is really lame, but it doesn't play as important. He just kind of says it's clobbering time and slaps Ben around, okay. and then nothing is said of it again until the end of the movie, when he says it's clobbering time and punches Doom.
Yeah, that was gonna be one of my biggest gripes, and obviously, to everybody, Dunners is the only one who has actually put up with this movie out of the both of us.
But then, it's the biggest problem with it is that it's a terribly paced movie, and everyone seems to be phoning it in. And I feel like that comes a lot from, supposedly Trank's erratic behavior on set and him berating and being really mean to his co-stars. And, or not his co-stars, but his actors. And so it just kind of, every line feels just like, oh no, we have to go in there. And it's just like, ugh, it just feels like super bad and just really, just kind of just, ugh.
That sounds terrible.
And it also does multiple time jumps in the movie where obviously they start off as little boys and then it's like 7 years later. Now they're, 16, 17 years old. And then they go through the whole process of building the teleporter. They go to the negative zone, but they can't call it that because Marvel owns the rights. They go to Planet Zero, as it's called in the movie. Get their powers, leave Victor there, come back. These are all spoilers, by the way, but it's a bad movie, so I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything for you guys. They come back, and they all have powers, and they're all being quarantined. Reed wakes up, doesn't know that he's stretchy, and he's like all stretched out, and they've been messing with his body.
Well, wait, how did they come back?
They get back to their teleporting machine, and Ben can't close the door to his, so that's why he's covered in rock.
Okay.
So he can't get the door closed in time. Oh, and Sue doesn't go with them. Sue doesn't go to Planet Zero with them. She hangs out in the control room, and when she comes back, there's an explosion of energy, and she gets hit by the explosion of energy, which is why she's force fields and invisible. She gets hit by the outward wave of energy, which is why she has her powers. It doesn't really explain why Johnny turns on fire or Reed is stretchy, but that's always been a criticism of the Fantastic Four in general, is why do these four people have completely different powers despite experiencing the exact same phenomenon? So,
yeah.
But that's, whatever. I mean, it's a movie called Fantastic Four. I can let that particular piece slide because I've let it slide in the comics my entire life. So that happens, and then they come back. They're held under military quarantine. When Reed finally regains consciousness, he freaks out and he kind of stretches himself out of his confinement, and he gets into the vents, and he crawls because he hears Ben screaming, because Ben's trapped inside of his rock. Like, his joints haven't formed, so he's just like a big lump, and he's like screaming and freaking out, and it's like hurts as he's like trying to move. And then the alarm goes off, and he's like, I'm sorry, I'll come back for you, and then he runs away, and it says 1 year later. It does another time jump. So this movie crosses 8 years in the span of its almost 2 hours. Or it's 97 minutes or 95 minutes or something like that. So then, Reed's living in South America trying to build a new teleporter, and the only real Mr. Fantastic thing you do is he changes his face shape to look like someone else. And that's about it until the end for Reed's powers.
Awesome.
Trying to think of more. I'm trying to think of more stuff that this Unfantastic Four movie does. Oh, the movie turns all of them like on each other. Like, they become really close friends. And then when Reed escapes, they're like, Reed's a bastard. He abandoned us and doesn't care about curing us. And the only person who understands why Reed does what he did is Sue and Johnny's dad. He's like, he's scared. So he freaked out and left. And then basically, Sue is conscripted by the government to track him down because she's like some kind of codebreaker, wind whisperer, like patternologist is one of her abilities, is she can see patterns that no one else can see. But she likes to listen to edgy music like Portishead, or else she can't concentrate. Dead serious.
Oh,
that's
man.
Not a joke. So she finds Reed, and to get Reed, they send out Ben Grimm, who is now the military's #1 hitman, in the most complete un-Thing maneuver of all time. Because when you first see Thing after it's all said and done, he's watching recap footage of his latest Black Op, where he's killed 43 people, and counting as it's ticking up. And it's just like, oh shit, wow, that's really not Ben at all, but okay. And so they send Ben to get Reed, and they have like one like quick moment of like arguing about stuff, and then Reed's like, I'm sorry, I can fix this, and then Ben winds up and headbutts him in what is quite possibly the worst CG headbutt of all time. Miles Teller looks so awful. I would watch the movie solely for that one moment, because it's so awful and laughable. So, long story short, they bring Reed back. Reed has to rebuild the teleporter because it blew up when it came back, and no one other than Reed Richards apparently on Earth can fix this thing, and there was no data. No one stored any recorded works of how they built it. So he builds it, they go back over there, and you find out, lo and behold, Victor has survived there for a whole year. Planet Zero has been keeping him alive on purpose and feeding him energy to become its ruler.
So Victor went with them?
Yeah, the four that go is basically they build the teleporter, and then the government swoops in and is like, we're going to send NASA. And then they get drunk. Victor, Reed, Johnny, and Ben all get, not Ben, because he's sleeping at the time. He's like back in his room or something. And they get drunk, and Victor talks about how, do you know who designed the shuttle and made it possible for man to go to the moon? And they're like, no. He goes, but you know who Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin are, right? The dudes who walked on the moon. We're the guys who made this possible, and we're going to die broken alone, and no one's ever going to know who we are. And so they get all fired up while they're drunk and just go hijack the machine, and they get Ben to come with them. And those four go, and they get Sue to operate it. And so that's why that's how they go in the first place, is because they're like, well, we'll go, and then we'll drop a flag, and then boom, when they go there, it'll be like, wham, we were here first. It's basically what they say. And Victor ends up touching some green slime, and it causes the planet to go fucking ape shit, and he falls in a puddle of goop and dies. But you find out he's still alive. They bring him back because he's like pretending to be hurt, and they start to like medically examine him. And the guy who played the leader in Incredible Hulk is like, it's amazing, we'll go back and we're gonna mine the whole planet and blah 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 blah. And Victor's like, you're not going to hurt my world, I'll destroy your world to save mine, and goes 0 to genocide in a minute and kills everyone at the facility, including Sue and Johnny's dad, because there wasn't enough life lost already to really drive home why these people with power should fight the guy who's being evil, other than having their dad killed by him. So they go there, he kicks their ass because they're not a team and they're not fighting together. Reed gets them to fight together. They kill Doom. They punch him into an energy stream and he's atomized and instantly destroyed. And then they come back and they're like, they have this meeting with the military where they save the day and they're like, we're so happy. And they sit down. Military's like, well, you're going to work for us. And like, we're not going to work for you. We're going to work on our own because we're a family and we'll do whatever we want on our own and we don't need you. And they're like, well, what if we say no? And then Johnny Storm's like, say yes to us. And so they give them the Baxter building to operate out of.
Oh,
and then
no.
the end of the fucking movie, I kid you not, the end of the fucking movie is them standing overlooking the amazing facility that they have. And Johnny's like, that's my spot. And Ben's like, I'll be over there. And like Sue's like, I get to do all this. And Reed's just kind of like laughing with them. And he's like, well, what's our name going to be? And they're like, what do you mean? Well, we're a team. And there's a team. And there's 4 of us. So we got to have a name. And it's like, how about the Human Torch and the Torchettes? Like, how about the big brain and his neurons? How about the big brain and her neurons? And then, like, Reed's laughing. He's like, I like being here with you guys. This is great. And then Ben goes, yeah, it's fantastic. And then Reed goes, wait, what did you say, Ben? I said it's fantastic. That's it, guys. We're the... And then Fantastic Four title card comes up. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So that's the recap. Sorry I've taken 9 minutes of the podcast time, but I had to get it out because I couldn't keep it in.
Well, and so few people can. That's my entire feeling on it, is after listening to everybody, why in the world would I watch this? If not just to know, it's one of those, to me, it's kind of almost borderlining on old, B-rated horror films, Toxic Avenger stuff. Like, you just have to see it to believe it kind of things.
Right,
but it's not meant to be funny. Like, they're trying to be serious. Those are meant to be funny and laughed at.
Yeah, exactly. And even in defense of, like, Toxic Avenger and stuff, those have, like, endearing moments of their own where it's like, wow, that was a really neat piece of filmmaking because they had no fucking money to make those things. This, they had $130 fucking million. Like, they had a lot of money. They had a lot of money.
Unbelievable.
They had as much money as Ant-Man to make this movie.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear, though, that some of it, the first half, that seems to be the general consensus, is that the first half is a decent movie. There's a good movie there that was murdered along the way. And like you have to like basically watch its slow torture and then eventual murder at the end of it. Yeah, I've heard no second act.
Yeah, it's basically one really long first act, a time jump, and then a third act. Doom is literally in the movie for 15 minutes and goes from like, hey, I'm still alive to I'm going to kill the Earth in a matter of moments.
Because they wanted to mine it.
It's the fastest arc of all time.
Mine from green goop.
Well, he's in the whole movie, he's super anti-government too. He's anti-government, American corporatism. So you can see where like the blogger part, because when you first meet him, he's like sitting in his like dank little like flat by himself, like cranking energy drinks and like writing something, and he's like surrounded by monitors, and it's like a very 90s computer scene, and it's pretty bunk. But
yeah, I still think they changed that.
Yeah, they absolutely did. I'm in total agreement with you that they changed it after it got leaked that he was some kind of blogger. Because that makes perfect sense, and it's like, well, why would Victor even go with them? It's like, why wouldn't Sue go? Like, why would you just change the order? It doesn't make any sense. But due to this movie, and now that you've heard the do about this movie, there's a group of fans who have started, you guessed it, an online petition to get the rights back to Marvel, which won't happen because Fox claims they're committed to making good Fantastic Four movies, despite 3 times not doing it.
They care so much about these characters.
We care so much about the money. The stories about the money. God, I gotta go. I gotta stop talking. We gotta get somebody else because I just keep saying the money because that's all I really mean. So Because they know, like, the problem is that, and this is to borrow from excellent YouTube channel Mega64, they know for a fact that nostalgia is the most powerful force that drives any of the 30-somethings, like mid-20s to mid-30-somethings to the movie theaters.
That's true.
Is that these moments of like, oh yeah, I fucking loved it when I was a kid. And I'll go see a fucking another Fantastic Four. I've been burned. I've seen all 3 of them in the fucking theater. All 3. And I would go see a 4th one under the promise that I could potentially get the good one.
Yeah, we can dream.
You know, so it's just like, and it's just, we've talked about it a couple times. I just still don't understand how you get Doom so wrong. Like, he's an egomaniac who's driven, he's a man who thinks he's a god, but at the same time, he's insecure about who he is. Like, that's perfect material for an actor to turn in a villain performance of a lifetime. A dude who is so smart and so amazing that he's just like, I'm a god, but at the same time is jealous because Reed Richards' family life is so great and his sucks.
Yeah.
You know, and things like that where it's just like, I rule a country with an iron fist. I wasn't even born royalty. I was a gypsy peasant who overthrew the government, and now I run this fucking place. On top of being a genius, I have arcane mastery. Like, I'm a magician. Like, in addition to science. And yet, it's not enough. It never is. Like, and then even like, what is it, in what's happening in Secret Wars now, where he's a god,
yeah.
But even with the power of a god, he can't fix his fucked up face either.
That was pretty awesome.
You know, so it's like, it's really amazing where it's just like, oh yeah, that's super cool that there's all these caveats to Doom, and it's like he always gets these limitless powers, but there's always a drawback, and it's always this thing that makes him think that he sucks for it. And it makes him, just fuels his ego and his rage to keep going.
Well, that's what I liked about his part in Axis. Did you read that at all?
I did not.
He flips roles, so every character becomes the axis of what they are. And he felt so he wanted to redeem himself for everything so badly. And you see that other side of Victor that you never see. You know it's there, kind of, because of how human he still acts at times. But until you read Axis, you don't really know that it's still in him. It's really cool. And I think some of that
awesome.
Poured over into Secret Wars and why he decided to save some of those. Because, yeah, spoiler alert, he doesn't get switched back. in that one, at the end of that event. Some of them get switched back, some don't. He's one who stayed good.
And now he's a god.
Yeah, now he is omnipotent.
He is the God Doom. There's some scooped photos that popped up from the last week of shooting on Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah, there was.
Undoubtedly going to be Avengers 2.5.
Pretty much. It's looking like it from the photos.
And a couple of things. We got to see a couple of really cool things. First being that it looks like Scott and Hank have gone in and made some tweaks to the Ant-Man outfit. The Ant-Man helmet looks like it's a one-piece now that has more of an Iron Man style, like retractable lid instead of being that kind of weird split piece that kept falling apart whenever Scott took it off.
Right.
So it seems more like classic Hank Pym, because it's very silver on top of the motorcycle suit, which is, Scott Lang's kind of flair for being Ant-Man. So it looks like more of a merger between original classic style Ant-Man and current Ant-Man, which I think is really neat. Because we all know how much I love Ant-Man. I love him to death. And then,
it looks
secondly,
like he's also got some almost taking notes from a little bit of Cap and Iron Man's outfits with the shoulder pads and the.
He does look a little bulkier.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was because it was a stunt double or if that's or if the suit's just more padded so he can take the hits.
Yeah, well, the black are on the shoulder, and then also on his new gauntlets. They're silver gauntlets, and they're glowing red. It looks like with pin particles.
Yeah, I'm betting we're probably gonna get some Giant Man action in Civil War. I'm guessing we're going to get some Giant Man action because I feel like something like that's gonna have to happen because as it stands, fucking Tony's team is better than
I forget who's all on. We should pull those up.
I think I might be able to do it from memory. So I'll try, and you can pull it up.
Sure.
If memory serves, Tony's team is Tony, the Vision, the War Machine, Black Widow, and Spider-Man. And Steve's team is himself, Hawkeye, the Falcon, the Scarlet Witch, and Ant-Man.
You're missing one.
And Winter Soldier.
There you go.
You forget about Bucky.
Yeah. You nailed it, though.
So, and I feel like Scott shrinking is going to be great, but at the same time, we're going to need something like Scott being able to grow huge and grab the Vision and chuck him through a building. You know what I mean? There's going to be some oomph that needs to be done, because you're basically fucking fighting 2 Iron Men, an Infinity Gem wielder, the most agile superhero in the history of Marvel Comics, and Black Widow. Whatever. Sorry, Romanoff fans, but she's whatever. And then on Cap's side, well, it's true. I mean, they both have one of the whatevers, you know.
Yeah.
Like Hawkeye.
They throw down.
They hold their own, and they fight really well in situations, but at the same time, it's like, yes, the team needs those guys to be there, and I do believe that, but at the same time, if it comes down to it, and you were saying like a threat level event, and it's like, alright, I'm here to save you. He's like, fucking A, Hawkeye's the one who's coming to save me? Shit. You couldn't have just fucking... Even the Falcon can fly in and save me. Like, there are no powers. You're really good with a bow, and she's really good with guns. So, that's just kind of my thoughts, is that like there's 2 throwaways, but then on Cap's side, his only other heavy hitter is Scott, because the Falcon isn't a heavy hitter. I guess you could say the Winter Soldier is a heavy hitter too.
Oh yes, but, I would give him that.
But is it enough heavy hit to basically beat a god? The techno god, which is Tony, the robot god, which is the Vision, and
we don't get Thor in Civil War.
Right? No. I'm saying that Vision is a god, and Tony is in fact a god because of the bleeding edge, supposed bleeding edge technology, which is the other big reveal in the scoop photos, is that Tony is wearing armor that is very visually similar to what is known as the bleeding edge, which, if you don't know what that is, it's the nanobots that built Vision living in Tony's blood can produce any type of material around him, and basically he technopathically controls them to create the armor around his body. So he never has to worry about deploying a suit or getting in and out of a suit just because it lives in his blood.
He thinks it and it's there.
So it's a pretty amazing suit, actually. In the comics, it gets turned against him by the Skrulls, I think, in the Secret Invasion. But, which forces him to go back to, like, one of his Mark V's or something, like, super old, before it had any kind of networking capability.
Yep.
Which is a really neat moment. Check that out in the original
Secret Invasion.
The Secret Invasion. So, I mean, that stuff sounds really neat. I mean, obviously Civil War is, like, my must-see next year. Like, I there's no 2 ways about it. That's, like, my movie.
My one wish is I just please, Marvel, put Ant-Man on the end of an arrow from Hawkeye.
It would be pretty amazing to have Scott hop on the arrow and fucking get blasted and then grow full size and punch someone at arrow speed, basically. Yes. Flying, hundreds of feet a second. Basically flying as fast, if not faster, than Thor, the Vision, or Tony can fly and punch someone. Which may be actually why he has those gauntlets, because now that he's able to move at such high velocity, he needs to be able to deliver some serious punching power.
Good call.
Maybe. Could be a protection thing. To wrap up with Civil War, though, and to wrap up, it actually wrapped shooting, so they're done. They're in post, finishing edit and visual effects, but they're not the only ones. X-Men Apocalypse also wrapped this week, and they had themselves a Red Bull vodka party to celebrate the end of their movie, which, I mean, I guess if you like booze, there are worse, but there are most certainly better. drinks to have. But they made a bunch of X-Men related drinks, so we're going to share them with you. So if you decide you want to have an X-Men themed drankin' party, you can go ahead and do that. We'll also post this up on the Facebook too, just so you guys don't have to like write it down in your notes app or something on your phone. But we have 5 different drinks.
And I love that the Angel is the sober choice.
Yep, it's pretty awesome. So we can start there. You wanna tell them what the Angel is, Rach?
You can get the Angel going if you don't feel like drinking at all, but you want to partake in some flavor of the X-Men drinks there, and you can just add a little bit of Red Bull Yellow and Ruby Red Grapefruit together. I don't know how well that tastes, but yeah, I guess if you want some energy and like grapefruit, that's your drink. Sober drink in your sober cabin.
All of these drinks have Red Bull in them, by the way, and most of them have Ruby Red Grapefruit juice in there too. But so we have the Apocalypse
product placement,
which is Red Bull Yellow. The best working podcast brought to you by Red Bull Yellow and Ruby Red Grapefruit. Yes, sponsors. We'd do it. We totally would. We'd both pose as a brand new version of Colonel Sanders. We'd supplant Norm Macdonald as a second Colonel Sanders in like under a month. We'd do it. We're not proud. We just like comic books and talking about them. And if the only way for us to keep that going is like you have to be Colonel Sanders, you have to shill mashed potatoes and chicken, we'd do it.
Do it.
That's just how it is. But you have the Apocalypse, which is Red Bull Yellow and bourbon and Ruby Red Grapefruit juice and honey and soda water, which sounds like an apocalypse for your stomach. Yeah,
it does.
Comedy.
Yeah, I don't know. As a grown man, I look at these and I drink shit with like, bitters and tonic, not grapefruit juice and honey and things. And Red Bull, especially, of all things. But if you're into that, I'm not going to yuck your yum.
Exactly. Call back to last week's episode. Do you want to do the next one?
Yeah, man. We got the Cyclops. This is the one that I'm probably most likely to drink out of all of these. But we got the Cyclops with, again, Red Bull Yellow. And I don't know why it's capitalized on this one versus the Apocalypse. It must not be that important.
It's an incredibly healthy dose of yellow. It's like, fucking Red Bull Yellow!
Yellow!
Get it in there!
Red Bull Yellow, tequila, Ruby Red Grapefruit juice, again, but orange juice and grenadine.
Actually sounds kind of good.
A little bit. I'll just take the Red Bull and the tequila myself.
I mean, it sounds like kind of like a tequila sunrise with Red Bull Yellow in it.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out, reading these, where the characters come in. Okay, I've got yellow, I've got red, orange, and then more red, so I can see the Cyclops a little bit.
I mean, does Apocalypse, like biblical, like land of milk and honey type shit? It's a stretch. The Angel, I'm assuming, is just because it's a sober choice.
Right.
The Apocalypse because it sounds gross.
Yep.
Cyclops because it's almost all red.
And then the next one,
which is the Mystique, which is Red Bull Blue and vodka and lemonade, which is probably actually pretty good when it comes down to it, because it's blueberry lemonade with vodka in it. Not you can't really go wrong there. But that's obviously Mystique. Also, will change your tongue blue probably, so there's like a shape shifting element to it.
Yeah. Little color shift.
Yeah, and then the last one.
The Nightcrawler. A little bit of Red Bull Yellow for the 8th time. No, I'm kidding. For the 4th out of 5, though.
80% success rate.
And then vodka, cranberry juice, and orange juice. That one actually does sound a little bit good, too.
Yeah, I would probably drink the Nightcrawler, the Mystique, and the Cyclops. I would most certainly stay away from the Apocalypse just because I don't want to drink Red Bull and bourbon together. That sounds gross.
Yeah, and who wants that much carbonation between the Red Bull and the soda water?
Yeah, it's a little bit out there.
And that's there's no measurements to any of these. Oh my god, you could have a free for all.
You can just pour as much as you want. I would like it in a ice bucket, please. I'd like a bucket-sized Apocalypse. Like, you're gonna die tonight. It's like, well, I'm Oscar Isaacs. I had to play Apocalypse in this movie, so I probably should just drink myself into a coma.
Fact.
So those are the X-Men Apocalypse rap party drinks. So if you want to have your own X-Men rap party, you can totally do that and, drink it up and enjoy all that stuff.
If you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah, if you want. This is where we talk about the cool supplemental stuff. I'm calling it the weeklies. I didn't run that by Reach at all. I just decided to be, shoot from the hip and just kind of do whatever I want. Up on our Facebook and our Instagram, you can find this week's Superpower Showdown, which this week it is in honor of the murdering of my time. Mr. Fantastic, who, as we all know, stretches, versus the Plastic Man from DC, very popular character in DC's universe. On the surface, they look like they have the exact same powers, but there are a couple of small differences which are completely game changers as far as what you may or may not think about in a fight. Those being that Reed, in addition to being able to stretch and be all elastic, and his elastic consciousness, as he calls it, which is why he says he's so immune to telepathy and things like that, not just because he's smart and he can wears off quicker. He's a genius. He's arguably the smartest man in Marvel's universe. So that's his big tick in his category for why you'd want to pick him. And for Plastic Man, he's not stretchy. He has a liquid form, which allows him to kind of change his malleability as he sees fit, which is very similar to I would say Captain America, Mr. Fantastic. But he can also make his body dense, so he can be like as hard as stone or steel or some very like diamond. He could be just you can't hurt him. He's also immortal because he's this kind of just goop, so he kind of like he can't die.
Which begs the question: how the fuck did this guy get his name, Plastic Man?
Well, Silver Era, man. Silver Age comic books. Not the best names for everything in the world. But my answer to it, which I posted on the Facebook page, my answer to it is I would go with Mr. Fantastic. The reasoning being that while Plastic Man has healing factor and he's super durable and he's almost invulnerable and immortal and all of these things where you can't kill him, Reed's so smart that I feel like he would develop something that would just solidify him and stop him from moving and basically freeze him, kind of carbonite his ass, and then you just chuck him in the negative zone prison, like in the Ark or the Raft or something, and he'd just be in there forever. And that's how Reed would win that fight. If it came down to it and it was two guys punching each other, I would say Plastic Man, just from his physical attributes being better than Reed's. But I think, we can't really just go, it's only a punching contest, Reed can't think. So
right.
My choice is Reed Richards in the fight.
I'll agree with you on Reed, and that's because recently I sat through a awesome little lecture at the Science Museum here in Minneapolis, where they do a social science every so often, and the most recent one was the science of superheroes, and an example that a professor that was giving a short little lecture there on the physics of superheroes used an example of an old Reed Richards panel. I couldn't recall who the villain was because it was so obscure and old, but basically this thing, no matter what you could throw at it, it would grow based upon the energy you hit it with. So regardless of gunfire, physical hitting, no matter what it was, it would grow. And what Reed had figured out was something that it grew, but it never built in density because its footsteps always remained with the same imprint, so it never got heavier. So he grew this thing just out of existence, basically. So to just back up your argument there is, Reed's gonna figure something out.
Yeah, he's like Batman but smarter.
Yep.
Like that's Reed Richards. So if you have your thoughts on the matter, maybe you're like, no, Plastic Man would whip Reed Richards' ass. Let us know about it. You can hop on the YouTube page, the Facebook page, or the Instagram, or all three if you want to tell us on all three of them. Go nuts. We'd love to hear from you about who you think would win. Also, we don't mind we don't mind if you do our job for us either.
Yeah.
If you come up with a super fight and you're like, what do you think about this? You know, we'll put it in the we'll make the little graphic for it and we'll put it up on the Facebook and we'll have that be fight of the week for like the next week. I don't mind not having to. I love taking credit for other people's ideas. That brings us it's not a good segue, but it brings us to the other part of our supplemental weekly material. It's the Katwa, the character of the week. Character of the week. This week is the Maestro. If you saw the video on our YouTube or Instagram or Facebook pages, the Maestro is basically Evil Hulk, and you can go there and check him out. There's a lot of really cool stuff about why he's a total badass. And, you know, same thing. If you have thoughts about Maestro or whether or not you think he's any good, or if you have a suggestion for somebody you think would be great as a Hero of the Week, let us know, and we'll see what we can do about making that happen. Next week's Hero of the Week, since obviously we don't have anyone telling me who I should do yet, so I'm in complete control still, is going to be the Moon Knight. So you're going to learn a little bit more about Moon Knight and why he's so awesome, and that'll be our Character of the Week.
And he is awesome. Week. He's so underrated.
He is. He's pretty sweet. So that's our weekly stuff for right now. We're working on making more stuff for you guys to have in there and check out, so we can really put our own stamp on the comic book news industry, which is
that in video games. We need a big surge in video games, man. It's that lull. July, August are just so dull video game wise, and then come like third, fourth quarter, fourth quarter.
I am playing fucking Rocket League like a madman.
And
I'm
that's
playing
the Steam one, right?
Yeah, and PS4. I'm playing like 35 matches every 2 days.
That's nuts.
They're only like 5 minutes long, but like at the same time, it's a lot. Like I'm playing a lot of fucking Rocket League, and then they re-released Zombie U, but for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. And I bought that for Steam because I had it on my Wii U when I still had my Wii U. And it is fucking phenomenal. It still holds up. It's scary as shit. It's a great game. I don't know if you know Zombie U at all.
I don't.
Its new name, Zombie. But if you like survival horror, this is one of those first games in a long time where it's truly horrific because Zombie can tackle you and murder you instantly if it by a random chance event. And the game has permadeath. So your character can level up its ability to shoot with like pistols and carbines and machine guns and everything like that. But if your character dies, you wake up as a new guy and you have to march out into the world, find your old body, kill it, and loot it to get your weapons and everything back.
Oh my god. Does it at least give you like a little target of where your body is or not?
Well, it's where you died.
Oh, so you just got to remember.
Yeah, so you just got to remember where it is and march back and hope to God it's not all the way across the game.
That's kind of awesome, and no, that's all the way awesome, but part of me is like, nah.
Oh, dude, I had one of my deaths already that was lame. I slipped off of a ladder and fell and broke my neck as one of the characters. And so basically I just had to go find her dead body and get my guns back. So I'm having a blast playing that too. So those are and always Heroes of the Storm and Hearthstone, because I'm a Blizzard mark. So, but I might actually pick up a Call of Duty. I might actually pick up this Black Ops 2 situation. I might pick that up.
3 or 2?
Or whatever the newest one
3.
is.
Blops 3.
Yeah, I'll pick up whatever the one is that has the bees in it.
Yes.
The cyber bees. So I'm probably gonna pick that up. I mean, there's always them good games floating around. I have a backlog of so many.
Have so many zombies games on any Call of Duty game is so much fun.
It's very true. It's very true.
Especially this new one with being back in like I think it's the 20s.
Tommy
guns and you have like powers too. So
it's like BioShock.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I'm into it. I could definitely play that. Oh, one other thing while we're talking about video games. I played through Wolfenstein: The Old Blood.
Is that the newest adaptation of that?
Well, there's Wolfenstein, there's the remake, which is... which
I haven't played.
Yeah, there's that.
And was it decent? Did you play that one?
Dude, both the new Wolfensteins are awesome. The Old Blood is like a standalone extra campaign. Like, imagine a DLC that's like 10 or 12 hours long.
Whoa.
And that's what it is. And it was only like $15. I got it on a Steam sale.
That's crazy.
But I loved both of them. There's it has an old school style unlocking system for your perks. So you get enough headshots, you get better, more ammo capacity with a gun.
Yep.
Or kill enough people with knives and you can hold more knives, and more grenade kills can hold more grenades, like old school unlocks. And it's a lot of fun, and it's really good because the base game takes place in 1966 in an alternate world where Hitler wins World War II.
Oy. Nobody wants that. What kind of game are you guys making over there?
Oh, it's pretty badass because it's just like, imagine being against absolutely all odds the entire time.
Yeah, I've heard they got like super Nazis and shit, don't they?
Yeah, they have like super soldiers and giant like robotic dogs and like a giant city smashing robot. It's great. Play it if you haven't, and it's probably cheap now.
Well, that's where I'm at with Arkham Knight. The download, the DLC. I had no idea until I started dabbling just in little bits and pieces. Luckily they sell outside of the season pass, so I said, okay, cool, let me grab this little Harley Quinn pack and the Red Hood one. I'll play these and determine whether or not your season pass is worthy. It very much is. Absolutely.
Wow, you're the first one I've ever heard who's giving glowing reviews to the DLC, because the across the board, it's been really canned, like as far as like the Red Hood's not good, the Batgirl one is terrible, and the Harley one is too short to really be considered good.
Well, I haven't played Batgirl, which is $6.99 if you buy it on its own. I played Harley Quinn, which was $2.99, and yeah, it's short, but it's $2.99.
Right, it's less than an extra value meal at McDonald's.
Right, my point exactly. And not to mention the skins that are 99 cents. The Red Hood one, I think, was also $2.99. That one's actually a little bit longer than the Harley Quinn one. So I say, okay, so I spent what? I bought like 3 skin packs for 99 cents a piece, and then spent 3 and 3, so 6 plus 4, 10. I spent a quarter of what a season pass would cost. And I'm impressed. And that leaves me another $6.99 for one that is still included in that, so add that. You're at half of that, practically, round up. But, I'll spend... If you got stuff planned out for the next 6 months, I'm in.
Yeah, sounds awesome. I beat Arkham Knight, and then I just kind of put it down, because I beat it before like all the DLCs hit, and I never went back. Not to say that I didn't love Arkham Knight, I thought it was awesome. I'm one of the few people on PC who didn't have the crippling affliction that happened to, which is the bad port that they made this time around. Ooh. Unfortunately. A couple of little tidbits real fast. This week we got Colin Trevorrow getting the nod to direct Episode 9 for Star Wars. That's a big deal. Colin Trevorrow, of course, directed Jurassic World this year, highest grossing opening weekend in the history of film, and oddly enough blew away the Avengers and Fast 7 to become the highest grossing film of this year, which no one on Earth saw coming. I'm still blown away by the idea that Jurassic World did it, which goes to show you people fucking love dinosaurs, man. Always have, always will.
Yeah.
Let's see. Moving over to TV real quick, because we're going to jump back and forth between TV and movies. Marvel and ABC, which obviously are part of the same Disney family, Disney's Empire of Joy, so to speak. Marvel's Most Wanted is getting dusted off. It's from an epic rap battle that came out last week. It's Stan Lee versus Jim Henson, and in the end, like, they stop like doing the epic rap battle, and they like talk about how much they like each other, which is on battle rap format. And then out of nowhere comes Disney talking about how he basically owns both of them, and they need to shut the fuck up and get back to work.
Of course.
Yeah. So Marvel dusting off the idea of a spin-off for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. now that it's a super popular show.
Finally.
And Marvel's Most Wanted, the show about Bobby Morse, the Mockingbird, is going to be happening. So it looks like probably fall this year we'll probably have it for pilot season.
And do we know if that's going to have her on again, off again, lover, Hunter?
I believe it is. I believe it's those two is the spin-off. And it's not going to... Apparently they're going to keep it relatively separate, the same way that like Agent Carter is kind of separate. Obviously Agent Carter is separated by time. This will be separated by distance. They'll be off doing their own thing for New S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever you want to call the whatever Shield is right now in the MCU. That isn't the only Marvel TV news. Alfre Woodard is going to be joining Luke Cage, which is amazing. She's an Oscar-nominated and Emmy award-winning actress. She's super fucking talented. She is rumored to play Black Mariah, which is a famous drug dealer in the Luke Cage side of the universe. Ties to Cottonmouth, everyone's favorite supervillain. And so
good old Cottonmouth.
With her casting, the rumors are kind of swirling that she's the main villain, and Cottonmouth is kind of one of her guys. And basically, we're gonna see Luke go to jail, being framed for heroin possession and trafficking. That's the rumors floating around for that.
And I don't know much about Cage as a independent character, but is that, I guess, just kind of what we get with him getting his own show?
Well, I mean, he's going to be a really big part of AKA Jessica Jones, too.
Right.
So,
well, you and I know that based on the relationship, but people outside of that, looking at Luke Cage as his own character, because even to me, somebody who hasn't delved too much into his independence, is I go, okay, Heroes for Hire, and then, yeah, the Jessica Jones relationship. But outside of that, I don't know anything about what this guy has dealt with.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to get a lot of, like, origin stories. I think they're going to take it really, really slow with Luke Cage. I really do, because he's like an exploitation hero. Is kind of how he started off. You know, it's like, oh, we gotta get black people to read comics.
Power man.
And so I think they're gonna move really slowly with him and gloss over a lot of like the old '70s stuff, because as Luke rises to great heights. I mean, dude led the fucking Secret Avengers for a while.
No, and that's where I'm trying to figure out where that fine line is.
A lot of it came in like the early 2000s with like the Ultimate reboot and like Luke Cage gaining popularity. It's like, dude, he has impenetrable skin, and he's superhuman. Like he's badass. He's on like Colossus's level. He's a really good superhero. We should probably use him better than headbands and like running around the alleys. So I think there's a lot of like the 2000s kind of really pushed Luke to the forefront, similar to the way that the movies pushed Tony to the forefront, because not too long ago Tony was a joke.
Yeah, no, it's true. And so his role in New Avengers.
Yeah. So all sorts of there's all sorts of amazing stuff they can pull for Luke Cage. I think there's tons there for
ties in later on. That'd be
I think
so
there's
cool.
I think we're gonna have to see him in Infinity War. I think we'll see all of the current crop of MCU TV characters in the Infinity War. I was kind of hoping that we'd see Daredevil as part of Cap's squad in
Civil War.
But I'm okay with not.
Yeah.
I just want more Daredevil. I'm okay with waiting though. On the DC side of TV stuff though, they released a bunch of trailers for their new programs. They released two for the Flash.
Okay, good.
One's just like a quick little.
I was gonna say it depends on which network you're watching.
Yeah, one's a quick little 10-second bloop for just showing him being like, I'm running and I'll be back. And the second one shows the Atom Smasher, which is going to be a big part of season 2, I guess, is that he's going to fight the Atom Smasher. So that'll be kind of neat. Looks like ex-professional wrestler Edge is going to play the Atom Smasher. So if you like pro wrestling, there's a nice little crossover there for you. Trailer for Supergirl they put out, which is actually really action-packed. Shows her flying an airplane down and like headbutting a semi-truck and fighting a couple of really cheesy, corny, like, women are supposed to bow to men on my planet. This isn't your planet type lines. But all in all, the action seemed really neat, and I'll check out a couple episodes of Supergirl. I'll do it.
You did watch the first trailer, right?
I did. And I actually liked the really long first trailer.
Really?
I did. Dude, I'm super weird with stuff like that, man, where it's like sometimes like, that kind of makes me feel like this is Mean Girls. I'm into it. So I didn't hate the trailer. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. So
yeah,
it's still
I didn't hate it. It was just weird. I felt it was too long, and I don't know. The things
Yeah,
that
I think
got
they're
into
trying
about the character.
Yeah, I think they're trying to pace it out and see what they could possibly do for getting people to be into it. And then lastly, they showed a new Gotham trailer, which actually kind of paints the shitty show in a better light. All the villains are kind of coming together, and the kid who's the Joker, you get to see lots of him like laughing and shooting people and like face covered in blood and like giggling about it. And it's like, you ain't seen nothing yet. like all like the laughing. It's like, oh cool, good job, Gotham. You did a really good job with that trailer. Still not gonna watch your shitty show, but good job with that trailer. So, you know, DC still ruling the TV world. No Arrow trailer though. I didn't see a new Arrow trailer, but I think that's because they're doing that whole thing where
Armel's gonna
Arrow's,
fight.
Yeah, Arrow's at SummerSlam, so they don't need to do anything like that. They got that another pro wrestling tie-in for DC.
In the new outfit too, I hear.
Oh, in the Arrow outfit,
Yeah.
huh? That could be cool, I guess. I mean, you know, whatevs.
Right.
I like pro wrestling, though. I'm not going to lie. I fucking love pro wrestling. Always have, always will.
And it's funny. The more I keep diving into our nerd culture here, the more I'm realizing that some of it is very much 50-50 in love with pro wrestling.
I mean, the thing is that, you know, treat it like any other show you watch. It's fake, because it's the weirdest argument of like, oh, it's fake. You know it's fake? It's like, everything I watch on TV is fake. Like, I don't watch it because I think it's real.
Right.
You know, I watch it because it's like a mindless, fun thing, and then the stories can be intricate at times. You know, I'm not saying they're fucking Shakespeare or anything, but, it's, you know, to each their own. Don't yuck somebody's yum.
There you go.
A couple other little quick ones so we can give you guys the quick rundown to hit you with a bunch of quick information before we wrap it up for the week and let you guys get back to it. George Miller of Happy Feet and Babe, Pig in the City fame.
His most notable.
Yeah, his most notable film is up to potentially direct Man of Steel 2, which could be really awesome. Just kidding about those two being his most notable films, because you guys are probably like smashing keyboards like, you're fucking Mad Max! Mad Max! So, that's how I imagine all of our listeners. They just get angry and enraged at everything that is said.
Spray painting their mouths chrome.
Yeah, going to Valhalla, chrome and shiny. But I'm totally into an idea of a George Miller Man of Steel 2. I could be down for seeing what he would do with like a Metallo or Brainiac or something like that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say they've kind of been alluding to Brainiac a bit from some rumors.
Yeah, I could totally be into seeing the arrival of Brainiac on the scene and actually get to see Superman fight someone who isn't a Kryptonian and fight someone who is his equal. You know, Zod was good. The collateral damage to Metropolis, whether you liked it or not, but most people didn't. But I would like to see him fight someone like Brainiac, because it's nice to watch him get manipulated. You know,
yeah.
The way that Brainiac does.
Speaking of Zod, what do you think about? Is it Michael Shannon? Is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah. What do you think about his remarks to said interviewer?
Flipper Hands?
Yeah, Flipper Hands.
I think he's fucking around. He's notorious for...
You really do?
Yeah, I do. I think he's just fucking with people. I mean, the rumor is he turns into Doomsday, and Doomsday ain't gonna have no fucking Flipper Hands.
Well, the bone blade, or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, but he still has hands, though. The fucker has hands. He has, like, bony protrusions out of his hands, but he has hands.
Sure.
You know? He's known for doing shit like this and like ribbing people and getting people all fucking worked up and riled up about stuff that he's in. So I could totally see this being a joke. I could totally see it being that he has Flipper Hands. But like, when I saw that interview, all it made me think of was Kids in the Hall Brain Candy. It's a movie from the 90s where they're like, just as long as there aren't any flipper babies, because it's like about a pharmaceutical company who needs to make a new drug because they're not making any money. And they're like, right, flipper babies. And then the scientist just leans forward and goes, there have been a few flipper babies. Just like, and you just see him being like drug out by his neck and like, it was only a few flipper babies.
Damn.
So That's how my brain works.
Yeah, or there's the cloning thing. I guess undeveloped hands. You can make your own assumptions based on what he said, but I didn't know he's infamous for this.
He's been known to fuck around in interviews and just say stuff. Which, if I were an actor, I probably would, because people are probably asking all the goddamn time about what do you think about this and how's your role, and sometimes it's probably got to get a little tiring and you want to mix it up.
Well, that's the way to do it.
So Zorro is getting a reboot, and it's going to be futuristic, post-apocalyptic Zorro is the rumor.
I don't even know how to react.
I am all in.
I guess I gotta read up. Isn't it just a guy with a sword?
He is, but he's like a
fencer.
He's a hero. He's Zorro, dude. Zorro's fucking the man.
But he rides horses and.
Yeah, but imagine riding a future plague horse through the hordes of zombie death, and he's fucking slicing them up, cutting a Z in their chest and shit. Z is for Zorro, and one of them's Z is for zombie, and he fucking slices his head off, and throws a sword through a guy, and fucking guns, and just, I'm all in, dude. I think it could be fucking tight.
Adaptation, I'm in for it.
Get George Miller of Babe, Pig in the City and Happy Feet fame to direct Zorro post-apocalyptic future reboot. Do it. He knows how to do a post-apocalyptic future shit.
Yeah, he does. Just don't cast Antonio Banderas.
I would say cast Antonio Banderas. Do the Eddie Murphy. Have him be everyone.
Well, no, actually you could, because the last one was 1998, so we've had some time for this man to age.
Have him be all characters in the movie. Men, women, children.
Let's do that thing with just every character.
But all fat suits. Not not that they're just replacing his face, but just a cadre of characters who are progressively fatter than the last.
Yeah, so we're in a post-apocalyptic, obese world.
Yes.
Where everybody but Zorro got fat.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Tell me you wouldn't.
And he cuts Z's into their stomachs until guts spill out, right?
I'm telling you, of course. Obviously. I'm telling you, it'd be better than Fantastic Four. Zing. Speaking of better than Fantastic Four, Tyler Bates coming back to score Guardians 2, which means he's just going to crush it again, probably, and kick ass and make an amazing score. That'll be super great, I'm assuming. I'm just, as far as right now, it's Guardians 2 is my favorite movie of 2017. It's ain't 2017 yet. I ain't even seen it, but I'm saying that. I'm going to say it.
Right.
Until I see it, and then I can say it with full confidence.
Yeah, I know already. You don't need to question my future intuition there on knowing that it's gonna be good. We had Chris Pratt say it. We had Gunn write about it. We know there's gonna be a Awesome Mix Volume 2. The score was great.
A potential Beta Ray Bill introduction.
Don't do that to me.
That's the dude. Did you not see James Gunn's tweets about it?
I did not, but don't. What?
Yeah, it's I'm so happy because Marvel's allowing me to introduce one of my favorite characters. And in his interviews,
stop it.
Going around in the beginning, he's my favorite character in the entire Marvel universe is Beta Ray Bill, and that's who I want to do. And that's why I was so excited about Guardians, because Beta Ray Bill fits in the cosmic universe, and I would love to bring him to the big screen. So,
well, I remember the speculation at the beginning of Guardians when Star-Lord's dancing around that skeleton in name of the first world, wherever he grabs the
I want to say Mograth, but that ain't right.
Yeah, Morat.
Yeah, Morath. There we go.
When he's on Morat dancing around and he goes to kind of insinuate a kiss to that skull. It's supposed to look like a horse head. The speculation there was that was Beta Ray's race. But Beta Ray's an android, is he not?
I am
in
not
the comics.
I'm not certain, but I thought Beta Ray was not an android. I thought he was an alien race. cybernetically enhanced, but I thought he was a living creature. That's something I'm going to have to turn over to the fans. I'm not the biggest Beta Ray Bill fan. I think he looks cool. I think Stormbreaker's a really cool hammer, but I don't really know much about him. I just don't.
Yeah, and I don't know much other than what I'm told. So yeah, please enlighten us.
And then our last little tidbit, Liev Schreiber might be coming back for the final Wolverine as Sabretooth.
I'm so with everything that is being talked about with this last Wolverine. Just please give us a real Sabretooth. Rage. Just Berserker Rage. Give us Berserker mode, please.
It's the only way they can really go out, is have Wolverine and Sabretooth have a knockdown, drag-out, bloody fight.
Yep. If you're going to have a finale of that shit movie that was #1, and the can you even call it decent? Is it tolerable?
Better, but still bad.
There you go. Better, but still bad. Second movie. The only way you can go out at this point is you give us a legitimate Sabretooth, and you give us Wolverine in full-on Berserker mode.
Agreed. Man, Fox's failings have just been just heavy and often.
You know what's funny, though? Today I thought to myself, a little sidetrack, their name, 20th Century Fox, it's like, wow, how much more could you have contained yourself to a century? So, we not making movies for the 21st century? Or...
Nope. No, we are not.
What are we doing, guys?
It's just 3 Fantastic Fours, a Ghost Rider, X-Men 3, and the 2 Wolverines. That's 7 that are bad.
Yeah, it's not a good run.
Not good at all. But also a little not good. We're at the end. We're at the end of the podcast for this week. I think we made it to the end again, and it makes me sad. I don't think that's good. I like talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Talking at you guys. If you like us talking at you, though, we are now on SoundCloud in full force. Every episode, all the time, always on SoundCloud. Same thing with iTunes. Every single one of our episodes will be up there. No longer just the first 2. The entire backlog and the entire future catalog will be up there as well. As always, our YouTube channel, Evil Ice Cream Pictures, has all of the podcast, all of our supplemental video material. So you can go there and check out the podcast if you want, and then you can also watch any of the other stuff that's on there. And we have our Facebook page where we have our superpower showdown, which, as you know, is Mr. Fantastic and Plastic Man this week. And our other supplemental material gets posted there, as well as any other cool links that we see during the week that we're going to talk about in an upcoming show, so you guys can interact with us there as well. So those are basically all the spots that you can find us, with the addition of our Instagram feed now, which is just the best flarking podcast on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And we now have a Twitter feed, which we're slowly working into maintaining, and that's just Mother Flarker. So we're at Mother Flarker on the Twitter as well, in addition to our personal Twitters as well. So, I mean, that's going to do it for us this week. It's been awesome hanging out with you guys, and we hope you guys had a good time listening to the show. And we'll see you next time. So, we're out of here, and we have been bad. Yeah, no, we almost did. It was. Hold on.
Oh.
We're not going to edit it out.
No,
we're gonna say we're going to edit it out. You know, like how edgy podcasts are like, oh, we'll edit it out, and then they leave it. So we'll say all that, and then we're going to leave it, and then now we'll do it again. And you never know, yeah. Yeah, and then we'll do it again right now. So we are the best flarking podcast. And we nailed it. Now no one will ever know that we didn't get it right the very first time. All right, guys. Well, they will, but they won't.
But they won't.
Because we're in on the joke.
Haha.
So it's laughing with us, not at us, which is fine.
You see what we did there.
Because we're smart. So, all right, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.